7 ordinary shoes silently crippling your mobility. Stop wearing number 4 now. I remember the moment I nearly tripped just walking across the living room. No clutter. No loose rug. Just my body giving out beneath me. I stood there, shaken, wondering, is this just what aging feels like? I blamed my age. My knees. Even my memory. But then my doctor asked me one simple question. What kind of shoes do you wear at home? That stopped me. Most people don't realize, after 60, our feet lose padding, flexibility, and strength. They become our foundation. And when the wrong shoes are under you, they silently destroy your balance, your posture, even your confidence. I had no clue that my favorite shoes, the ones I wore every day, were slowly working against me. But here's the good news. Once I learned which shoes to stop wearing, and what to replace them with, everything changed. I felt more stable walking across the kitchen. More energized during daily errands. Less tension in my knees, hips, and even my back. It didn't take some expensive device or therapy. Just smart choices, starting from the ground up. Welcome to Healthy Aging Advice for Elderly. I'm John, and I help older adults stay mobile, pain-free, and confident, using simple, real-life tips backed by science and personal experience. In this video, I'll show you 7 common shoes silently crippling your mobility, and more importantly, what to wear instead. Stick with me, because shoe number 4 is the most popular choice among seniors. And also the most dangerous. Let's make sure you're not wearing it. Tip number 1. Worn out sneakers. For years, I relied on the same old pair of sneakers. They felt comfortable, molded perfectly to my feet, and seemed like the easiest choice for errands, daily walks, even gardening. I thought the softness meant support. But slowly, I started to feel more off balance. My knees began to ache, especially after walks. My hips felt tight. I noticed I was taking shorter steps, walking more cautiously, without realizing why. It wasn't until I took a good look at the bottom of those sneakers that I understood the problem. The tread was nearly gone. The soles were uneven. The heel was collapsing inward on one side. They looked harmless on the surface, but underneath, they were completely worn down. That's when I learned that shoes, even ones that feel comfortable, can silently ruin your posture, your joint health, and your balance. As we age, our feet lose some of their natural cushioning and strength. If our shoes aren't supporting us, every step starts sending stress upward, into our ankles, knees, hips, and even our lower back. Old, worn-out sneakers exaggerate this. When the soles lose structure, your feet can roll inward or outward. That shifts your alignment with every single step. So I made one small change. I replaced my old sneakers with a pair designed for support. I looked for firm heel counters that kept my foot stable, decent arch support, and non-slip tread with some depth to it. It didn't have to be expensive. It just needed structure. The result? Within days, walking felt easier. My steps were smoother. I felt more stable, not just physically, but mentally too. There's something empowering about feeling grounded. I didn't realize how much those shoes had been affecting me until I stopped wearing them. If you're over 60 and your sneakers are older than a year, especially if you wear them daily, there's a good chance they're doing more harm than good. Even if they still look okay on top, the midsole, the part that cushions and supports, breaks down with time and use. This is especially true if you walk regularly. You don't need orthopedic shoes or a podiatrist's custom insert to feel better. You just need supportive, fresh sneakers that help you walk naturally and keep your joints aligned. Trust me, your knees, hips, and back will thank you. Let me ask you this, when did you last replace your walking shoes? Think about it, and let me know in the comments. I read every one. Because the first step to better mobility might just be your shoes. Tip number 2, flat slippers. For years, I swore by my house slippers. They were soft, cozy, and, most importantly, they made my feet feel like they were getting a break from all those sneakers. I wore them all day, around the house, during errands, and even in the garden. But by lunchtime, my feet would ache. I'd feel a deep soreness in the arches, like they'd been flattened. And by the end of the day, my lower back would hurt, too. I didn't think much of it at first. After all, slippers are supposed to be comfortable, right? But the truth hit me when I realized, my slippers were doing more harm than good. They were completely flat. No arch support. No structure to keep my foot aligned. I started looking into it, and I learned that flat soles can do a lot more damage than you'd expect. The arch of your foot is essential for balance and stability. It's the body's natural shock absorber, and it helps distribute weight evenly across your foot. When your slippers are flat, they don't support your arch, which leads to foot fatigue, poor posture, increased pressure on your joints, a higher risk of falls. That's when I decided to make a change. I swapped out my soft, flat slippers for a pair with a structured arch and decent heel support. At first, I wasn't sure if I'd get the same cozy feeling, but to my surprise, they were just as comfortable. The difference? The support made all the difference in my balance and comfort. My feet didn't feel flattened by midday. My back pain eased. And I could walk around my house without feeling unstable. Slippers don't have to be rigid or uncomfortable to provide support. You just need something that lifts the arch a bit, has cushioning under the heel, and doesn't leave you flat-footed. Here's why this works. A slipper that supports your arch helps distribute your weight more evenly. It gives your feet something to push against, and keeps them in a natural position. This helps prevent fatigue, improves your posture, and gives you better stability when walking around the house. So ask yourself, do your slippers have arch support? Or are they just flat? Take a minute to think about it and let me know in the comments. Because what you wear at home could be making all the difference in how you feel and move. Tip number 3, flip-flops. For years, flip-flops were my go-to shoes for everything. They were quick to slip on, light, and easy. Whether I was going to the mailbox or stepping outside to water the plants, they seemed perfect for a casual, no-fuss lifestyle. But one day, everything changed. I remember walking out onto the patio, my mind distracted by the task at hand, when suddenly, pop! I twisted my ankle. It wasn't anything dramatic, just a slight misstep, but it was enough to send me straight to the ground. My ankle was sore for weeks, and I couldn't help but wonder, could my flip-flops have caused this? At first, I dismissed it. I blamed my age, thinking that I was just getting older and more prone to mishaps. But then I took a closer look at those flip-flops. They had no back straps. No arch support. No grip. The soles were thin, and with every step, I could feel my toes scrunching to keep the shoes on. That's when it hit me, flip-flops are not designed to support the way we walk, especially as we get older. The issue with flip-flops is that they don't allow your foot to stay in a stable, secure position. Without a back strap, your foot slides around inside the shoe, and your toes are forced to grip with every step to keep the shoe from flying off. This constant gripping strains your toes, your arch, and your foot muscles. Over time, this poor gait mechanics leads to foot fatigue, unstable walking pattern, poor posture, and increased risk of tripping or falling. I never realized how much extra effort I was putting into each step, and how that effort was affecting my balance. That's when I decided to make a change. I switched to lightweight sandals that have a back strap to hold my foot securely in place. They also had a thicker, more supportive sole with plenty of grip, making it easier to walk confidently, even on uneven surfaces. The difference was night and day. I felt stable again. My steps were more controlled. I stopped worrying about stumbling or twisting my ankle. It was amazing how much safer and more comfortable I felt, just by switching to shoes that supported my natural foot mechanics. Here's why this works. Flip-flops may be fine for a short, leisurely stroll, but they're not designed for anything more than that. They don't support your foot's arch, and they don't hold your foot securely. That constant need to grip and adjust leads to instability, making falls more likely. When you choose shoes with back straps, arch support, and a sturdy sole, your foot stays in place. Your toes aren't working overtime, and your gait is smoother and more natural. It's a small change that makes a big difference. So let me ask you, are you still wearing flip-flops? Be honest. If you are, maybe it's time to consider a safer option. And if you've already made the change, I'd love to hear about it. Drop a comment and share your experience. I read every one of them, and I'd love to know how you've made your footwear work for you. Tip number 4, memory foam shoes, the shocking one. When I first tried on a pair of memory foam shoes, it felt like I was walking on clouds. The cushioning was soft, comforting, and soothing. They seemed perfect for someone like me, trying to stay active and comfortable throughout the day. But after a month of wearing them regularly, something unexpected happened. I started having more back pain. At first, I thought it was just a coincidence. But then, I realized my balance was off. I'd become more clumsy, less stable. I couldn't walk as easily on uneven ground, and my posture started to suffer. I knew something had to be wrong, so I took a deeper look at the shoes. And that's when I learned a shocking truth about memory foam. Memory foam doesn't support your foot the way you think it does. At first, it feels great. It molds to the shape of your foot, giving you that cushy, cloud-like feeling. But over time, memory foam compresses unevenly, especially as the foam starts to wear in. This uneven compression weakens the muscles in your feet. It flattens your natural arch, which is essential for proper alignment and balance. And when your arch is flattened, your whole body starts to shift. Your posture gets thrown off, your back has to work harder, and your stability goes down the drain. I didn't realize how much damage was happening beneath the surface until I made a change. I swapped the memory foam shoes for a pair of firm, orthopedic shoes designed to support my arch. They were a little firmer than what I was used to, but I immediately noticed the difference. The back pain eased. My balance improved. And I felt more stable on my feet. The support was exactly what I needed, nothing too soft to collapse under me, but just enough firmness to keep my foot in the right position. Here's why this works. Memory foam shoes may feel amazing at first, but they don't provide long-term support. As the foam compresses, it loses its ability to support the natural curves of your foot, especially the arch. When the arch flattens, it impacts your overall alignment, leading to poor posture, strain on your back, increased risk of falls, weakening foot muscles. Orthopedic shoes are designed to provide consistent support for your arch, keeping your foot in the right position and reducing strain on your back and joints. So if you've been wearing memory foam shoes, it might be time for a change. Have you tried memory foam shoes? What was your experience? I'd love to hear from you in the comments. Let me know if you've experienced any similar issues, or if you've found a solution that works for you. I read every comment, and I'm here to help you figure out what works best for your feet and your health. Tip number 5, heavy orthopedic shoes. For a long time, I believed that the bulkier the orthopedic shoe, the better it was for my feet. I figured the more support, the better the protection, right? So, I ended up wearing these clunky, heavy shoes that felt like mini bricks. They seemed sturdy, with extra padding and arch support, but what I didn't realize was how much they were slowing me down. At first, I didn't notice the effect. But over time, I began dragging my feet, and my steps felt heavier. It wasn't just uncomfortable, it was downright tiring. Then one day, I tripped on the sidewalk. Nothing serious, just a small stumble, but it made me stop and think, could my heavy shoes be contributing to this? The answer was yes. While they were great at providing support, those shoes were too heavy for my legs and feet to move comfortably. I felt like I was constantly fighting to lift my feet off the ground, and the extra weight was putting unnecessary strain on my legs. That constant drag was making me more fatigued, and I was much more prone to tripping on uneven surfaces. That's when I decided it was time for a change. I replaced those bulky orthopedic shoes with a pair of lightweight orthotic shoes. They were just as firm and structured, but they didn't feel like bricks on my feet. The difference was immediately noticeable. My steps were lighter. I felt less fatigued. I could walk longer without tiring out. Not only did they provide the necessary support, but the weight distribution was much more balanced, allowing me to move freely without feeling weighed down. Here's why this works. Heavy shoes may provide support, but they also require more energy to move. The excess weight makes it harder to lift your feet, especially when walking on uneven terrain. This extra effort leads to quicker fatigue, and it increases the risk of falls, as dragging your feet makes it harder to navigate obstacles. Lightweight orthopedic shoes, on the other hand, give you the support you need without the extra weight. They allow your feet to move naturally, reducing strain on your legs and joints while providing better stability. Do your shoes feel like weights or wings? Take a moment to think about how your shoes feel during the day. Are they dragging you down, or are they supporting your natural movement? I'd love to hear about your experience in the comments. Are your shoes working for you, or do you need a change? Let me know. I read every comment and love hearing your thoughts. Tip number 6, backless house shoes. For years, I lived in backless house shoes, thinking they were the epitome of comfort. They were easy to slip on and off, and they gave me that cozy feeling, perfect for lounging around the house. But soon, I began noticing something. I'd be walking around, and suddenly, whoosh, my heel would slip right out. It didn't matter how much I tried to shuffle my feet back into place. One wrong step, and I was teetering on the edge of a fall. It happened more than once, and I couldn't ignore it anymore. The backless shoes were putting me at risk, and I knew I needed a change. But why were these seemingly comfortable shoes causing so many problems? The issue with backless shoes is simple: they weaken foot control. Without a back to secure the heel in place, your foot is constantly sliding around. You have to grip harder with your toes to keep the shoe on, and that puts unnecessary stress on your foot muscles. But the real problem is more than just the inconvenience of constantly readjusting. Backless shoes reduce proprioception, that's your body's sense of where it is in space. When your heel isn't properly supported, your brain has a harder time knowing exactly where your foot is, which makes it much harder to stay stable and balanced. It also affects your posture and gait, making you more prone to tripping. For me, it was the constant struggle to maintain balance, which eventually led to that terrifying feeling of losing control. So, I decided to make a change. I replaced my backless house shoes with indoor shoes that had full heel support. The difference was immediate. No more slipping. No more struggling to keep my foot in place. My steps felt more controlled, and I didn't have to worry about shuffling around the house anymore. Here's why this works. Full coverage shoes, with proper heel support, help stabilize your foot, giving your brain the clear feedback it needs to maintain balance and coordination. They prevent your foot from sliding, which keeps your walking pattern natural and controlled. When your foot is secure in the shoe, it's easier to walk with confidence and reduce your risk of tripping or falling. Backless or full coverage, what's on your feet right now? If you're still wearing backless shoes, take a moment to think about how they might be affecting your balance and stability. And if you've already made the switch to full coverage shoes, I'd love to hear your thoughts. Drop a comment and share your experience. I read every one of them, and I love learning what's working for you. Tip number 7, dress shoes with hard soles. I'll never forget the day of my grandson's wedding. It was a special occasion, full of joy and excitement. I wanted to look sharp, so I put on a nice pair of leather dress shoes, polished and elegant. Everything was going great. Until it was time to hit the dance floor. As soon as I stepped onto the floor, I nearly slipped out of control. My feet were sliding on the slick surface of the leather soles. I had to hold onto the table to stay upright. Talk about embarrassing. I realized I couldn't rely on those shoes for balance, and it made me question why I had even chosen them in the first place. The shoes were stylish, yes, but they were unsafe. And that's when I learned a crucial lesson: stylish doesn't mean slippery. The problem with dress shoes that have hard leather soles is simple. They don't offer enough traction on most surfaces. When you're walking, especially on smooth or shiny floors, hard leather soles provide minimal ground contact. This makes it easier to lose your grip, whether you're walking, standing, or dancing. In fact, hard soles can make you feel more unstable, and the risk of slipping or tripping increases. I never realized how much these shoes were compromising my safety until that moment on the dance floor. But once I made the change, I felt more secure and confident in my step. I replaced my leather dress shoes with a pair of stylish shoes that had rubberized soles and low heels. The rubber soles gave me a much better grip on the floor, and the low heels kept me stable without sacrificing style. I could walk, stand, and even dance without the fear of slipping. It was such a relief to realize that you can have both safety and style in a pair of shoes. Here's why this works. Hard leather soles can reduce ground contact and traction, making it difficult to maintain stability. When you wear shoes with rubber outsoles, however, you increase the amount of contact between your foot and the ground, which enhances your grip. Rubber soles provide a much more secure step, especially on smooth or slick surfaces. They also help absorb shock, reducing strain on your joints and making walking more comfortable. Do you have a pair of slippery shoes in your closet? Take a look at your dress shoes. Are they more about looks than function? If you've been slipping or feeling unstable, consider swapping them out for a pair with rubberized soles. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Drop a comment below and let me know if you've ever had a similar experience or if you've found shoes that give you the perfect balance of style and safety. These shoes may seem innocent, even comfortable. We've all been there, slipping on those easy shoes thinking they're doing us a favor. But the truth is, the wrong footwear slowly drains your strength, hurts your joints, and makes you fear movement. That's the last thing any of us need. The shoes we wear can impact our whole life. They can affect our posture, our balance, and even our confidence. You don't need to accept decline. You deserve to feel steady and secure, no matter how old you are. With the right support under your feet, you'll walk taller, steadier, and safer, every step of the way. So, next time you slip your feet into a pair of shoes, ask yourself, are these helping me stay strong and stable? Or are they silently setting me up for a fall? Which shoe shocked you the most? Was it the worn-out sneakers, the flat slippers, or maybe the flip-flops you've been wearing to the mailbox? Tell me below. I read every comment, and I'm always curious to hear about your experiences. If you found this helpful, please tap the like button. It helps others discover this too. Every time you like or share, you're helping someone else make the changes they need to stay mobile and healthy. And don't forget to subscribe, because next time, I'll reveal 5-foot strengthening exercises that boost balance and prevent falls. We're not alone in this. Together, we're aging wisely, step by step, and I'm here for you every step of the way.